Hello and thank you for joining in on a live news update at this hour. I am Jessica Ochai. The headlines. Buhari unveils redesigned Naira notes. Nigeria to tap 1 billion barrels from first reservoir. UK's top court rejects Scotland's independence referendum bid. Morocco coach Regagril taps into Saudi win ahead of Croatia clash.
Live TV.
And now the news in detail. President Muhammadu Buhari has unveiled the new currency note on Wednesday, the 23rd of November, before the Federal Executive Council FEC meeting at the State House, Abuja. Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, was in attendance during the unveiling ceremony.
I welcome you to today's event, which is to officially launch the new Naira banknotes. Your Excellencies, international best practice requires central banks and national authorities to issue new or redesigned currency notes every 5 to 8 years. Yet, it is now almost 20 years since the last major redesign of our local currency.
Our Naira has not been redesigned in the last 19 years. On the basis of these trends, problems, facts, and benefits of currency redesign, and in line with Section 2B, Section 18, and Section 19, subsections A and B of the Central Bank of Nigeria Act 2007, the management of the CBN sought and indeed obtained the approval of the President Muhammadu Buhari to redesign, produce, and circulate new series of banknotes at 200 Naira, 500 Naira, and 1,000 Naira levels.
Meanwhile, at a briefing after the ceremony before the Federal Executive Council meeting, the CBN governor debunked insinuations that the early unveiling of new notes is a means to target any Nigerian. Emefiele appealed to members of the public that there is no need to perpetuate any such information. Following the unveiling of the new notes, which begins circulation today, the CBN governor announced that the CBN is now more determined to make Nigeria a cashless economy as in other climes. The Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari has kicked off oil drilling on the site today, the 23rd of November, and Nigeria is expected to tap 1 billion barrels of crude oil from the first reservoir of Kolmani oil fields around Gombe and Bauchi states. The oil exploration could reach 19 billion barrels of crude with the discovery of more reservoirs. The country will also reap over 500 billion standard cubic feet of gas from the first reservoir, with prospects for higher volumes of gas. This is according to officials on the ground as well as the project profile published by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPC. Meanwhile, the federal government of Nigeria, through the National Bureau of Statistics, has launched the results of the 2022 Multidimensional Poverty Index Survey. The survey being a collaborative effort between the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, the National Social Safety Net Coordinating Office, NASCO, the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, and the Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative, OPHI, sampled over 56,000 households across the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT. This survey, conducted between November 2021 and February 2022, provides multidimensional poverty estimates at senatorial district level. Highlights of the 2022 Multidimensional Poverty Index survey reveal that 63% of persons living within Nigeria, which is 133 million people, are multidimensionally poor. The national MPI is 0.257, indicating that poor people in Nigeria experience just over 1/4 of all possible deprivations. 65% of the poor, which is about 86 million people, live in the north, while 35%, nearly 47 million people, in the south. Poverty levels across states vary significantly, with the incidence of multidimensional poverty ranging from a low of 27% in Ondo to a high of 91% in Sokoto. On the foreign scene, the United Kingdom's top court has ruled that the Scottish government cannot hold a second referendum on independence next year without approval from the British Parliament, dealing on a blow to nationalists' hopes of holding a vote in 2023. In 2024, Scots rejected ending the more than 300-year-old union with England by 54% to 45%. But independence campaigners have argued that the vote 2 years later for Britain to leave the European Union, which the majority of Scottish voters opposed, has materially changed the circumstances. Scottish First Minister Nicola Sturgeon, leader of the pro-independence Scottish National Party (SNP), announced early this year she intended to hold an advisory independence vote on October 19, 2023. But that it had to be lawful and internationally recognized. Moving on to sport news, Morocco is fired up by Saudi Arabia's stunning upset of World Cup favourites Argentina. Their coach Walid Regragui said as he backed his team to pull off a similar feat when they faced Croatia in their first Group F match today. The Saudis, the second lowest ranked team at the World Cup and coached by former Morocco boss Hervé Renard, beat Lionel Messi's Argentina 2-1 to deliver one of the biggest shocks in the tournament history. Morocco are 10 places below 2018 World Cup runners-up Croatia in the world rankings, and Regragui said his team were inspired by the way the Saudis had outplayed Argentina. And that's all we have for you at this hour. But before we go, a recap of the headlines. Buhari unveils redesigned Naira notes. Nigeria to tap 1 billion barrels from first reservoir. UK's top court rejects Scotland's independence referendum bill. Morocco coach Regragui taps into Saudi win ahead of Croatia clash. Thank you for watching, and once again, I am Jessica Ochai. Do have a good day.
Alive TV.